You know, honey, I got a song I wrote just especially for you. I want to sing for just for you.
What is it?
It's called Hey Good Looking.
Oh.
Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? Say, hey, sweet baby, don't you think, baby, we could find us a brand new recipe? I got a hot rod Ford and a $2 bill, and I know a spot right over the hill. There's soda pop and the dancing's free. So if you want to have fun, come along with me. Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? I'm free, I'm ready, so we can go steady. So how's about saving all your time from me? Ain't no more looking, I know I've been cooking. So how's about keeping steady company? I'm gonna jump my date book over the fence and buy me one for 5 or 10 cents. I'll keep it till it's covered with age, 'cause I'm writing your name down on every page. Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me?
Hey, Dallas Cowboys, what you got cooking? Because I heard the home cooking is good, Bob.
Wow. We took it, man. We took it way back there, dude.
Oh, we took it all the way back, baby. That's 1951. That's Tom, what's his name? Tom Hank. Oh, not Tom Hank. Hank Williams, that guy, the other Hank. Hank Williams, 1951.
Wow.
Hey, good looking. What you got cooking? I'll tell you what we got cooking in the trenches, baby. It's week 17. He is Bob and I am BG, and we got a special guest as always, and we're going to give you our 3 keys to victory today. So it's time to tap in, baby. It is game day. Where are you at, Green Badgers? It is time to raise the bar. Let's go, baby.
Just to start, we're going to start this off real quick. The strain I am puffing on today, my game day strain. Oh, it's something called Headhunter. Headhunter. That's what we need to be doing today. This defense needs to show that F up today, and that is exactly what I'm puffing on, some Headhunter. So hopefully that's what gives the guys the motivation. Besides the fact that we're we're going to talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. We see all our Green Badges falling in. Hey, Sarah, appreciate that. We see the prototype in the building, got the reps in. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We got Park Ranger in the building. That's right. Here we go. Let's go, baby. Here we go. Y'all need to hit that raise the bar. We need to do share this. Yes, it is hilarious. It is home cooking at its finest. The Dallas Cowboys on a 15-game win streak today, hosting the Detroit Lions. Week 17, we're going to go over our 3 keys to victory as soon as we give everybody a shout out and how you're doing, what you got cooking. I see you over there, King Sharon. What's good, baby?
B Red. What's up, B Red?
What up, Tanya? We see you down there. Home up. Jerry and Jimmy played down there in Arkansas together, right? Oh, we going to talk about that today, too. Jimmy Johnson going in to the Ring of Honor. That's right, baby. We got a whole bunch we got some history going on today. We got some illustrations going on today. We are getting bigger and better over here in the trenches, Bob. This is week 17. Can you believe we only have one more game left before this regular season is over with?
It's always a massively depressing part of the year, man. I mean, the good thing, at least, is we've been somewhat involved in postseason games for the last few seasons in some way, at least, if not by talk, then by actually being in there. But we're there now. We're already in the postseason, but we need to really get these wins are for the fans. They're for us. They're for us to look at this product and go, this is the product that you've been buying jerseys and hats and all this shit. This is what we're putting on the field to thank you for buying all the jerseys and stickers and all the stuff that we've been buying since we were young people. I think today's going to be a show at game. So let's hope we show it.
Definitely. The Cowboys got a 15-game home win streak going on. They got the NFC Detroit Lions coming into the house. You know, they're 11-4 right now. They got Oh, Dan Campbell over there, he both played for the Cowboys and the Lions. There is a lot of storylines going on with tonight's game, if you know what I mean. But let's just welcome our guests to the show before we get into the trenches too far. Y'all know how we do it. We like to expand out here, baby. Let's welcome our guy, Eric B, to the show in Florida.
Make them clap to this.
What's up, peoples? Hey, thanks for having me again. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everybody had a great, safe holiday, and Happy New Year coming up. And let's talk some Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, Eric B. What's up, big brother?
Definitely. So just to kick it off, just to kind of give everybody some context here, you see I'm going to put this scrolling information down here at the bottom. I want everybody to take a look at this picture, and I want you to think, caption this. What do you think is going on in this caption right here? Without reading the bottom, we've got the credit down there at the bottom. So I throw that to Bob. I throw that to Eric B too as well. What do you think Jimmy and Jerry is talking about at the restaurant there with their wives back in 1989?
Well, I didn't know, so I'm going to tell you what I thought this was. And first of all, I want to point out to anybody who may be 38 and older, the wonderful Manila-colored light beer clock kicking it in the back, along with the light beer can on the table, which I believe was the sponsor of the NFL for a long time. At any rate, what I think is the negotiation happening right here, I assumed it was Jimmy Johnson talking about his contract, how much he wants to make to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I assumed at this picture he already was the coach, and they're talking about how much he's making. I don't know if that's right or not.
Cole, no, already. That's too soon, baby. He said they're talking about Herschel Walker. Come on, Cole.
No,
that's not that far down in the relationship yet. But I throw that question out there to everybody today. What do y'all think Jimmy and Jerry is talking about there at the show? So we're getting a little interactive here today in the show. So we got some information up there. That was in 1989. That was February 24th. That's my birthday. Actually, that photo was taken in Mia's down there. I know, a great job on pointing out that clock. I thought the same thing when I looked at it too. I started looking at all of the surroundings like this is an old photo. But I wonder what they were talking about. Eric B, what you think they were talking about over there?
Well, if he was already under contract, they're just talking about becoming the evil empire and how many trophies they're going to get. Because if Jimmy Johnson was still there, he'd be a Bill Belichick, him, and that'd be right up. But, those two couldn't really get along as much as they got along all the way back from Arkansas National Championship, 67, all the way, they were probably talking about how many trophies you think we're going to win. And they're going back on that, is my opinion. So I had to bust out the Jimmy Johnson old school Apex.
I see you over there with the throwback on. My guy Eric B is bringing the throwback vibes tonight. Yeah, week 17, the Cowboys' last and final home game of the season. We've got the Detroit Lions. We're going to take a look at the Detroit Lions on Stat News. Y'all know we like to keep it by the numbers over here in the trenches. We're going to give you our 3 keys to victory. We're going to get a little illustrative on that too as well. But an all-important game. Me and Bob were talking in the back of the studio before we got on, and I'm going to ask this question to everybody else here. Is this a must-win for the Cowboys today? Considering everything with the NFC East, considering the playoff picture and all the like. Now, before everybody comes from me, it's like, well, BG, every win is a must-win. Well, so was Miami, and so was Buffalo. Because I'll tell you what, if the Cowboys don't bother to show today at home on that 15-game win streak, especially with Jimmy Johnson in the house, it's going to be big trouble in little Dallas. But we're going to get to the 3 keys, and let's just bring up the Detroit Lions Stat Muse numbers here to take a look at how they're doing in the league this season. Currently at 11-4. We got the numbers up. Detroit Lions are 5th in total offense at 27.5 points per game. The other side of that is they're allowing teams to score 23.7 points on it per game. They're only 24th on their defensive side of the ball for opposing points scored per game. Their rushing yard is my biggest concern. And just to kick that off right out in the trenches, we'll just kick that off and give you our first key to victory here today. Is going to be, can we hold this ground game to 100 yards and under? Because prior to the Bills game, 5-0 against teams if we held them under 100 yards. And then the Bills happened. We did hold Miami Dolphins under 100 yards that next game, but we seen a Tua come in there and pick us apart under the coverage. But today we definitely got to hold this run game of the Detroit Lions, because I'll tell you what, Jahmyr Gibbs is pretty fast. and he's pretty elusive.
He's a badass. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you my answer to the question you asked recently before this graphic. Is this a must-win game? I 100% believe so. And here's exactly why. And we spoke about it a little bit. As fans, we need to see that we are winning games against strong teams going into the playoffs. It's really that simple. We need to also be shown that this team is prepared enough by our coach in order to win a game at home again. We could easily lose this game at home, and all the shit we've been talking about winning consecutive games at home means nothing. Detroit is a tough team. If we beat them at home, we continue the narrative that we need to play games at home, yes, but we also continue a narrative that we can beat teams that are good. So this is really what this is all about. The most important team to beat would be Washington, if I'm being honest. When we're coming down to this division, really beating Washington is really mostly important. But we lost 2 games to AFC teams, and that sucks. It sucks because they were pretty decent teams, but Detroit's pretty badass, man. I think they've got the ability to run on us, and if we beat them, that's awesome going into the fucking playoffs, man. Especially going into playing Washington.
Well, let's just hope the same team that's been showing up at home, Eric B, is the same team that shows tonight, and that's why I went all the way back in the crates to find Hank Williams. What do you feel about tonight? Do the Dallas Cowboys got some more home cooking up tonight, or are they going to allow this team, which is ranked 5th in sacks, to come out and get out there our offensive line? As we see some of the news coming out, Tyron is going to be back. Looks like our offensive line is going to be back in full swing. How do you feel about it being a must-win for the Cowboys tonight, Eric B?
Home cooking, must-win. Every game is a must-win. Is a cliche that's very important because you play to win the game. Herb Edwards said that. You play to win the game. So you might as well play to win the game, and let's go. At home, we win by 24.3, 24 point. I mean, I don't expect that tonight, like I said earlier again, but I do expect us to score first and play our game and prove, like Bob said, that we can be that team and we have that presence that you're not going to beat us at home. We're going to kick your ass. We're going to score on you. We're going to make some defensive plays.
Has to happen.
And that's what we need, that presence, that thing to hang our hat on, because definitely not playing on the road or stopping the run. Gibbs is very much like Cooks. I like the way Micah stayed back last week. Bob called that. Parsons back a little bit, spread out the team, keep the run contained. I think we got him, bro. We're going to outscore them. We should win this game, similar to like a Seattle game.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys are currently favored by 5.5 points, with that 15-game home win streak, which brings us to talk about the second key of the game. So we got to stop this rushing attack of the Detroit Lions down to 100 yards. It was proven before the Buffalo game. The Cowboys were 5-0 prior to the Buffalo Bills game, holding teams under 100 yards. That seemed to be the recipe. We know we've been having a problem stopping the run. We got the ball on the next game, and the Buffalo Bills ran all over our ass. James Cook cooked the Cowboys in Buffalo. But our second key to today's game is going to have to be who's going to turn over Jared today. These Cowboys need a turnover, baby, and I mean in the worst way, if you know what I'm talking about, Bob, Eric B. Who is going to turn over Jared today, because the Cowboys need turnovers to win? That is currently the rumor out on the street.
Yeah, Eric and I were talking about this. I'll let him take it. We need. Go ahead, take it. Take it, E.
What's it been? 4 games we haven't created a turnover. I mean, I don't know. That's something crazy. Can't comprehend it because our defense is such playmaking. That's just what we've done all year, even without Diggs. He'll be back.
Tell him about how he's statuesque.
Yeah, we need to get that back tonight, and he is statuesque. You're right, Jared. He reminds me of Kirk Cousins a little bit, where he stands back there, and I think our D line is going to be able to cause that fumble, that strip sack. Maybe we're going to pick 2, and again, that goes back to scoring first and making that guy step back and throw, because we can't just let him hand off the ball 40 times.
Speaking of the run game, I hear Rico Dowdle is out, and I hear Hunter Lipke, and I hear Deuce Vaughn is going to be taking RB2 reps tonight behind a Tony Pollard. So how are we looking with this offensive line back tonight with all the familiar faces minus a Rico Dowdle? I'm concerned because I don't know. We ain't seen Deuce Vaughn in I don't know how many games. And then when you look at last week's game with Hunter Lipke, I mean, are we really going to put our faith in Hunter Lipke after that fumble last game, which a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans are saying that cost us the game?
Look, man, I think you have the right to be scared right now. The problem is at the very beginning, we really wanted Deuce to do well. We saw his college tape. We saw a lot of the good stuff. We probably didn't pay a lot of attention to his bad tape, which is just him not really getting a lot of yards. And I would venture to say that most of the time I saw him running the ball for us, he lost yards. I don't really know why. I don't, we didn't really have a solidified sort of offensive line at the beginning of this season, if you guys remember. So that could be the reason why. There's a chance today that we open up Tony Pollard-like holes for Deuce today, and he runs through the holes, and we're good to go. But there's also a chance that they do absolutely nothing. And I don't want that to be the case because when we don't have the offensive, when we don't have the running game, we don't have a passing game. And if we don't get ahead, our defense doesn't do well. There's a lot of linkage involved the way we're supposed to do things. And when teams come in and mess our plan up, we usually fall apart.
Yeah, we should use Turpin in the backfield a little bit more. He had success earlier in the year and a couple of handoffs out of the backfield.
A rushing attempt or two, maybe.
Yeah.
We're going to get to some CeeDee Lamb in a minute, but we've got Tony Pollard up here. As you talk about Tony Pollard, I don't know, maybe with Rico Dowdle out, maybe Tony Pollard is going to get this run game going tonight because Lord knows we need it. Tony Pollard, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season that after week 17, he didn't only have 5 touchdowns, I would say you crazy. Let me mortgage my house and put it on the line in Vegas.
And still only one 100-yard game, right?
Yes, correct.
Oh, that's tough.
In the last 5 games,
that's not a good return on investment.
So talking about the run game, I'm a little concerned, especially with the Cowboys going to be lining up Hunter Lipke tonight and a Deuce Vaughn in the trenches, RB2 action. We're going to get to the second key to the game here as we talk about turning over Jared. And, this guy, he definitely knew how to turn over a quarterback. How about we give a big shout out to Darren Woodson. Oh, Woody. Woody was named one of 15 modern era finalists for the class of 2024 Hall of Fame. Is he going to make it into the Hall of Fame this year? Is this the year we see it? Eric B. finally 3-time Super Bowl champion. I mean, he only leads the Dallas Cowboys in the tackles right at 813 or something like that.
Number 28, Darren Woodson. Woody gets in the Hall of Fame, absolutely. Not only because he has those 3 Super Bowl rings, but just because the man he is and what he represented for the Dallas Cowboys. Everything about Darren Woodson was real deal and top-notch, professional, humble, class act. Yes, he gets in.
All throughout our time watching the 90s Dallas Cowboys, Eric B. and I growing up in Miami, Darren Woodson was always one of his favorites. He loved D. Wood. I know that for a fact. I think I gave you a Darren Woodson jersey too, as a matter of fact. Darren and I have a couple of his. The thing about D. Wood is he just did so many things that you don't ask of modern safeties, and he put his heart into every hit, and he put his heart into every single interception. He was one of those guys, one of those early guys that was sort of a hybrid safety back in the days when all safeties were kind of pure. I always kind of seem to lean more towards the guys of like James Washington, Roy Williams, some of the harder hitters. But D. Wood kind of did all of that shit. And look, honestly, when you look back at the years that we were great, Darren Woodson was on all those teams doing great things. So he deserves to be in the Hall.
So getting back to that, as we talk about turning over Jared, if you're just joining the show, I want to ask you a question. What do you think is going on during this conversation right here? Basically, that's what took place down there below February 24th, 1989. Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones, along with their spouses, sat down to have dinner. What do y'all think they were talking about as we get to the second key to the victory tonight? So let's get back to it. The first key was to hold this rushing game. We see that the Detroit Lions are currently averaging 141 yards on the ground. The Dallas Cowboys seem to have a pretty good recipe beating teams if they can hold them under 100 yards. But this turning over Jared business, I think they're going to need to channel Woody tonight, because you know whose name is going next to Darren Woodson in the Ring of Honor today?
Yimmy.
That's right. Jimmy Johnson, baby. Jimmy Johnson's name will be right next to Darren Woods's name up there at AT&T Stadium for the Ring of Honor. So as we connect the stars and line them up here, I I mean, we don't have Trayvon Diggs in the background, but can we still see a little bit of Deron Bland? Did Deron Bland go missing? Is he on a milk carton? How about Gilly? Can we see a little bit of Gilly out there today? Will we finally see this defensive front or maybe this defensive seven get down and get some sacks on Jared Goff? We need to channel that discipline of Jimmy Johnson tonight, baby, in order for the Cowboys to win, because this Detroit Lions team, especially led by Dan Campbell, is looking to come in and spoil the home cooking.
Playmaker mentality. Jimmy Johnson always had those playmaker mentalities, and that's what we need to. All those playmakers need to show up, and it's usually we're scoring so much at home, and a lot of it has to do with because our defense is scoring for us too. Don't forget those pick sixes. 4 of them happened at home. I mean, okay, so maybe we might need to get that. That's where our scoring goes up, and we take care of business. Is our defense helping us win at home?
So with that being said, especially as we talk about defense, it's amazing that linebacker Micah Parsons, defensive end, linebacker, whatever you want to call him, has gone, 36 quarters without a holding call. So now that we know that the lion is literally out of the bag, I wonder, do you think he'll garner a holding call tonight, especially now after he came out and the Dallas Cowboys actually sent correspondence to the league on Micah Parsons in terms of that Miami Dolphins game?
I don't know, man. I have a problem subscribing to that because if that's the case, then we need to look at TJ Watt. We need to look at some of the rest of the guys who are edge rushers that are probably better than Micah. And I understand Micah's amazing, but we're talking about guys who are proven. We need to talk to those guys. Are those guys being held? Are they being held by the same referees that are not calling the holds against Micah? In order for us to get all that information, that's the only way we can answer that question, is to get all of that info and get all the correct info. That's a lot of shit to wade through.
It might be kind of a stretch or a reach in some terms, but because he leads the league coming into week 17, I think he had 97 pressures. I think it was double digits over next, which was the Bosa kid from San Francisco. I mean, how do you get that many pressures without garnering a holding call? I don't know. That's kind of like Arsenio Hall, and y'all know, y'all grow up with Arsenio Hall too. Things that make you go,
Well, how do you garner that many pressures without, let's say, half of them being sacks? Do you know what I mean? So that's an immense amount of pressures. I don't really know what the math would be. Let's say 25% of that still would put him in an area that he's not right now. So, I mean, I don't know, man. That's
because they're holding him. That's why he doesn't have that many more sacks, because he's being held.
You know what I would do if I was opposing team coaches going up against Micah Parsons? I'd tell my offensive lineman, hold that motherfucker and make the refs call the flag.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Until they start seeing a trend of those calls being those calls being made in a game, that might be the one thing to do.
So great key,
which is a great segue to get to our third and final key to the game as we go back to our 3 keys in the trenches here today. Hold the run game under 100 yards. The Detroit Lions averaging 140 yards on the ground. We've got to hold down Montgomery and Gibbs over there. Secondly, can this defense turn over Jared, as we talked about? Micah Parsons, 97 pressures coming into week 17, I believe, the most in the league, 36 quarters without a holding call. That's bananas. Lastly, leads right into this Dallas Cowboys discipline. Currently, the Dallas Cowboys are the 3rd most penalized team, but that's after they were number 2 coming in this week. The Cleveland Browns did play, which they now tie the Cowboys. But can you believe the Cowboys, I believe, are sitting at 108 penalties? Week 17, Damn. After we led the league in 2021 with 127 penalties under Mike McCarthy, his first year. That second year, they got it down. I think we ranked 9th after that, and now currently we're ranked number 3. I don't know, is the discipline of Jimmy Johnson, is that discipline ghost, going to get to AT&T Stadium tonight? Is that what we're going to see? Is that the stars aligning? Is that what Jimmy is doing here, aligning the stars, Jerry's doing is putting Jimmy in the ring here by aligning the stars on this final last home game with all the stars. CeeDee Lamb with his record, Michael Irvin's record is on the chopping block, 111 catches. What jersey you got on today, Bob? Yeah, that guy. CeeDee Lamb, 3 catches, can break the record today. There is a lot of storylines going on. I think Jerry Jones is putting on a masterful show at AT&T Stadium for the final home game of the year.
I think at the very least, what this is going to do is going to electrify the crowd, right? It's going to electrify the crowd. It's going to sort of cement the importance of what Jimmy is to the legacy of the early 90s Dallas Cowboys and the Cowboys overall, and the league overall, especially after the Herschel Walker great trade robbery that we went through. That changed the face of the NFL. A lot of things that the Dallas Cowboys did during that time changed the face, but Jimmy deserves to be in that Ring of Honor. Jimmy got us 3 Super Bowls. Whether you want to say Switzer had anything to do with that third one doesn't really matter to me. I know for a fact that Jimmy built that team, so that's the reason why a good old Switzy gets that ring. But I believe that he belongs there, and I think that that's going to electrify, hopefully, not only the crowd, but the team. A little bit of history gets under their blood, a little bit of the richness of what came before them, or a little bit of the reason why everybody talks about how the only footage of a Cowboy Super Bowl is on VHS. That shit needs to be erased. That stuff needs to be moved into a new generation, and I'm just hoping that this Ring of Honor does that.
And speaking about moving into a new generation, let's move into a new segment of the show as we get ready to wrap up here in the trenches, week 17. We've already went over our 3 keys to victory here today. Hold the ground game to 100. Turn over Jared at any cost. I don't care. Jared, write the check. Turn him over, baby. 3, Dallas discipline, especially when it comes to the penalties. Last but not least, the Bet MGM over-under. Boy, I tell you, they got the Cowboys at 5.5-point favorites at home. The over-under on this game is 53.5 points. Let's get into some game predictions. And before we do that, Bob, I think you have a built different boast we need to go through, right?
We do. I'll take the first one now. The built different boast, for those who do not know, is basically our way of boasting and saying what we think is going to happen with this game in a big way. It could be compared to a bold prediction, if you will. We just don't want to get hit with
prediction. Yeah.
We don't want to get trademark hit. So this is a built different boast, and I believe I'm going to say my built different boast for today's game is going to be the fact that our defense will hold the running backs of the Detroit Lions to under 75 yards.
Woo!
That's my boast.
I like it. That would be literally half of what the Detroit Lions are putting up at 141 yards a game. That is a built different boast right there, Bob. I'm buying it, baby. I love it. Eric B., what you got for the built different boast, baby?
I'm going to stick with the defensive theme, and I'm going to boast that our defense actually scores, and that helps us, propels us to a victory at home.
Well, I guess you could call mine a boast, but I think CeeDee Lamb not only breaks the record in the first half, but I think he has over 200 all-purpose yards today between receiving and rushing. I believe he not only breaks the record, he breaks the reception record and total yards in the season with Michael Irvin on hand today. I think it's going to be a special occasion. So book it, baby. CeeDee breaking a record in the first half and 200 all-purpose yards against the Detroit Lions. I'm telling you, these Lions on the pass, baby, they're giving up 23.5 points a game. They're ranked 24th for a reason. If this Texas Coast offense can not only get this run game going with Tony Pollard and maybe a little Deuce, you know, that's why they've got this over-under set at 53.5 points. And now that we've got all of our built different boasts out the way, Bob, let's start with you. What is your prediction for today's game?
I've been off, and we've all been off because we've been picking the Cowboys to win the last couple friggin' weeks. So at the risk of sounding wrong again, I'm going to say today we win 34-14. 34-14 at home against the Detroit Lions.
53.5 points over under. So that's on the under. You see Russell's predictions coming in there, 28-21. That's 49 on the under too. Eric B., what you got, baby?
31-27 Cowboys.
Okay. Get off.
I'm going to go 35-21. I believe there's going to be some points scored tonight, but I believe the Cowboys get on them early. We still scored 30-some points. You know, the Dallas Cowboys are number 2 in the league currently in scoring at 30.7. So it's not typically a bold take, but 35-17. Did I say 35-14? Which one?
You said 35-21, BG.
35-21. There we go. Let's get it right. So that's 56 points. That's 53.5. That covers on the spread. That's the Cowboys for the win. I would never pick any other team except for the Cowboys to win anyway. It did hurt these last 2 weeks in a row, but I don't think the Cowboys can make it 3 in a row like Niners fans and Eagles fans wanted to be.
Yeah. Yeah, we need.
They are praying that we lose so we can be a part of that. Y'all lost 3 in a row crowd, baby. You know how they've been moving the goalposts on our guys. And if you agree, do me a favor, just raise the bar, baby. If you agree, them haters been moving the goalposts on you as we got week 17 in the books, man. An all-important Saturday night primetime game. And guess who's calling the game tonight?
Oh, my God. Tell me it's not Greg freaking Olson.
I think it's Troy Aikman, is it not?
Oh, God, that'd be great. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, it's on ESPN tonight. So Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, right?
Shit, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool until he starts talking a lot, and then it becomes what we get annoyed by. Well, don't lie. You ain't got to lie, Craig. You ain't got to lie, Craig.
Yeah,
we get annoyed.
Jimmy there, Jerry sent out a mass email to all of the Cowboys and said, "Get your ass there, baby."
Oh, look at Deuce. That's the big boy. That's the big
Cowboys
boy.
getting ready to run out. So we appreciate everybody joining here. One of our 3 keys to victory here today in the trenches, week 17. I can't believe we're almost done with the regular season, but we need these Cowboys to keep this home cooking going. And just like when we opened up, baby, we need that home cooking by Hank Williams Jr., if you know what I'm saying. We need some home cooking tonight. Cowboys 15-game win streak on the line. CeeDee Lamb's record. Jimmy Johnson Ring of Honor. NFC game. Dan Campbell played for the Lions and the Cowboys. I mean, yada, yada, yada. The storylines go on and on and on. I can't believe it's our last and final home game of the season. It has literally flown by. Before we get out of here, Bob, any words of wisdom for our folks?
Yes. Big players make big plays in big games. Today's a big game. I don't care who makes the big plays. I might have called a Bill Different boast out, but that just means I want everybody on this team to do well. So if the defense does well today, that means that our offense was doing what it needed to do. So big players, big plays, big games. Let's do it.
Eric B., any parting words before we get out of here?
Score first, and usually that leads to good things with the Dallas Cowboys. So they get the ball, stop them, get the ball, score. If we get the ball, go down the field, score. Score first.
Absolutely. I want to say a special shout out to all of our green badges here. Thank you for supporting the content all year long. This content would not be possible without your support, but shout out to our top star givers here for the month. It looks like Jason is in a comfortable lead for Jalen Tolbert. It'd be interesting to see if Jalen Tolbert has a big game, but like I said, I think CeeDee Lamb, 200 all-purpose yards. I think CeeDee Lamb shows his entire ass like the Eagles tried to when they pulled him in the end zone. I think CeeDee Lamb shows his entire ass today. This has been week 17 in the trenches. Eric B., Bob, BG, y'all know what it is. Them killer bees. We'll see y'all in the trenches after the game.
Go Cowboys.